we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and as you may have heard and noticed, this section is going to be a little bit different, maybe even outside the comfort zone of two of our members here.
Yes, now, we don't all necessarily see eye to eye on this, but let's keep this a nice, calm exchange, everybody. We want no horseplay going on.
And it begins. Disclaimer warning to all bronies that may be listening to this. Prepare for as many puns about horses and ponies as you can imagine. Please take them in good stride.
Don't worry, we're not the French.
We don't want anyone riding our asses about this.
Okay, so, alright, so as you may have noticed, I haven't snapped yet and killed anyone. I haven't gone on a murder spree. I haven't blacked out and woken up covered in human blood.
And the reason is simple.
I'm a brony.
Matt has our friendship, and as we all know, friendship is magic.
Yeah, I'm a brony. I will come out and say it. I've got the pins on my bag to prove it.
Like you haven't mentioned it before on our other casts.
Well, yes, but this is an official mentioning, okay?
Mm-hmm. He's officially coming out of the barn.
I would have gone with stall, but whatever.
Stable.
Because the stall is more like a closet.
Yeah, but a stall is also known with bathrooms, and that's a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, but another term for bathroom is a water closet.
Stable.
Sure.
But yeah, so I'm a brony. I mean, I've watched all the episodes. I know the characters. I've seen all the memes. I even know the dark side of it.
They are bronies. They neigh loud and they will be heard.
Alright, so yeah.
Think that's 5.
Think what you will, people. It keeps me calm. It makes me happy. These two are alive, thankfully. Now, going on to what this is really about. It's the first timer's approach to MLP, as I like to call this. I got these two to watch some episodes. They were supposed to watch the same episodes, but Harvey got his wires crossed, unfortunately.
A little bit.
Yeah, he instead of a gun to my head, I had a riding crop to my ass. You know, just waiting.
Don't worry, Mark. You've earned the recipes.
Oh yeah. Plus, after your work during Pride, I guess you'd be a little bit.
Oh come on!
A little bit wary there.
Or just what he was doing yesterday.
What he does with his business is his own business.
Exactly.
Y'all can go to hell.
Mark, you're friends with me. You're already there.
So Matt had us watch some episodes of the
about
show.
10 episodes altogether for them.
Mm-hmm. We did both at least watch the premiere episodes.
Yeah.
The premiere of each season and just some choice episodes from there.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'll personally say that each episode has its ups and downs, and there are some I like more than others. And for anyone wondering and listening that's a brony, favorite pony has to be Pinkie Pie. And I have a girlfriend that's dressed up as her. So suck it.
Because we're not going into that whole, what you described to me earlier about the clopping thing. No.
Well, I'm not thinking of it pervertedly, thank you very much.
No.
I'm thinking of it more as, haha, I've got a girlfriend that's into it as well.
Out of respect for his girlfriend, I will withhold all possible comments here.
And out of respect for Harvey's life, I shall not refrain from murdering him here, especially considering the subject matter is supposed to be about friendship.
Again, I kind of wonder what happened between these two when I left.
Nothing happened. We're the same.
Pretty much. There's just no buffer.
Yeah.
It's good to have...
There's no little Asian between us.
It's good to have...
Oh, that's just wrong!
It's good to have the Triforce of Wisdom as well.
Yeah. You know, our reverse...
The catalyst of sanity.
Yeah, you know, like our reverse Twinkie here.
It completes our trapezoid. Makes it a triangle again.
Yes.
Sure. Anyways, back to this.
Yes, back on topic here. So I made them watch the premiere... Anyways... I made them watch the premiere episodes, a couple of episodes of season 1, And then they diverged, and Harvey watched some episodes from season 2, and Mark watched a couple of different episodes from season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you showed me some clips beforehand.
Well, I showed both you guys some clips.
There was lots of clipping going on.
So, starting with whoever wants to start, general opinions, and then what you liked and what you didn't like. Who wants to start?
I'll go.
All right, go, Marky boy.
So, at first, when Matt kind of proposed this to me, I thought...
No, people, I did not get down on one knee.
It's kind of hard for horse to bend.
Not an MLP.
So, yeah, anyways, when he proposed this to me, I was kind of resistant, but it's Matt, so I kind of had to.
I did not threaten him with anything too bad.
So
I more bribed him, actually.
Yeah, you kind of did, and I don't believe how it actually worked. But yeah, anyways,
food is always the answer when it comes to Mark, people.
So yeah, so I watched a couple episodes. Well, I watched the whole episodes that Matt gave me, which were different from yours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they started off the same, then they changed.
They were okay. I mean, I found some parts funny. I found some parts a little grating to me for the fact that it's still, even though it is somewhat catered to older of the male demographic.
To the 20-something,
Yeah.
usually college guys.
Yeah. It also had to go back to the whole, we're focusing on little girls as well. And that was a bit grating to me as I'm not into the whole thing. Like, if you've read my blog, how I kind of lost myself when I was in the Hello Kitty airport. Yeah.
So, anything specifically that you enjoyed?
The Rainbow Dash character kind of got me a bit. I enjoyed it.
No surprise there. Everybody loves Dashy.
I think most of my views are going to be the same. Like, most of my pros are going to be the same as, like, most other people's. Because I'm looking at this objectively through just me watching it. I have no...
Well, that was the plan here.
I tried to keep this an open mind. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You're still a man, even though you watched a kid's show.
No, I watch Karopi still. I don't really fucking care.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this was kind of... I don't know. The fact that they were trying to force so much morals into it.
Well, name a kid show that doesn't have morals in it. I mean, that's kind of a staple.
I know, but like... I don't know. I'm... And there was some story to it, which I did enjoy, actually. Like, actual continuing story instead of just... They did this on this episode, and they did something different in this episode that didn't really click. Okay. I did not try to force it there, I swear to God.
I know. Continue on, Mark. Continue on.
But other than that, I mean, I'd recommend it to people who want to just watch it on their everyday life and have nothing better to do, and just, have something to enjoy that does speak to your demographic, because they do some stuff like... Matt, I think, showed me one clip about the Epic Mealtime clip, and I thought that was really funny. I thought it was really cool, because I do enjoy watching the Epic Mealtime shows. He also told me about the whole, because I'm such a wrestling fan, the whole Randy Savage tribute, which I popped for. So again, it does go to the whole demographic, but again, it's not my cup of tea. How about you, Harv?
Now Harvey's turn.
My thoughts on the show. I walked in with an open but slightly shuttered mind, because it's for one thing, I will say it is a little tough to get over the fact of watching a kid show that you didn't grow up with, so you don't have the direct nostalgia already. But either way, I did it for the sake of research so that I'd be able to talk about it, have an informed opinion about it, and have a reasonable amount of exposure to it.
So your comment is not too biased?
Not too biased, no. Some of the pros I will say for the show, it is lighthearted. It does teach like reasonable lessons for kids, things that they should really go along with. Granted, some of the ways that they deliver these messages are, in some cases, incredibly heavy-handed and don't seem to give children a salt lick of any integrity or any credit.
Yeah, see, that's where I agree with you there.
Oh, I don't disagree. I mean, the messages are kind of blunt force trauma, but if you watch some other kids shows these days, they're not as bad. Like, if you check them out, and honestly, I've got a niece, so I've seen other kids shows, especially on Family. Honestly, My Little Pony is subtle compared to Disney's nuclear bomb of messages.
Yeah, that's true. Well, other things I can enjoy about the show, there were some references to things that I grew up with. Not nearly as many as I was led to believe I would see, but there
well,
were.
If you look closely, there are more.
Yeah,
We're just watching the episodes just for watching them. You weren't like studying them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is lighthearted. It's very bright and colorful. That's always good. And in terms of characters, I can only think of two at the moment that I either liked at all or had a lot of attachment to. Even that. First was Princess Luna, who was previously Nightmare Moon, who was evil, and then she got fixed by friendship, and then was all good again. And then she had trouble adjusting to the public at large, because for 1,000 years she was an evil bitch.
Well, that and stuck on the moon.
Yeah.
That kind of happens when you got 1,000 years and, well, nobody to talk to.
Look at Pink Floyd. They at least had drugs like crazy.
Yeah,
and so for the one episode I saw that really showcases her at all, she's kind of going medieval on all these people, but still trying to be like she's not evil. She's just trying to rule them with an iron shoe, and it's going pretty well, except that they're scared as shitless of her because she used to be evil. And so,
well, you would be too.
Yeah. So she starts to.
I mean, you see how she entered? I mean,
yeah, that's badass though.
Okay, whose perspective is this? Yours or his?
Well, no, I'm just trying to talk more about it.
Yeah, so she comes in. People are terrified given the circumstances, and she tries to fit in more. And by the end of it, she understands that her scaring the kids is actually what they enjoy about the holiday after she cancels it, because they're all being punk bitches, and so she's not going to tolerate it anymore. And
well, she goes queen on their asses.
Yeah, and so through the process of the episode, she goes from this actual booming, thunderous voice, like ye Old Testament sort of crazy-ass ruler, to pretty much a level-headed other princess. And I felt like they totally spayed her there, and that was the cool thing about the character. So I was kind of disappointed with that. The only other character that I like, that I can actually name and remember is, I think his name is Macintosh.
Big Mac.
Yeah. He's the red pony that works with the Apples family. Doesn't actually say much, but I liked him so far. Pretty cool. And, okay, some of the things I actually found I didn't like Rainbow Dash.
No.
Hype, like crazy hype, and they...
I just like the whole, like, you know, the whole hyperactiveness. Like, it's almost like a little... it's basically like my nephew. He's got all this energy pent up into one, and he doesn't know where to put it all.
One of my gripes with the show is that it's got hyperbole everywhere, including the characters. A lot of them really, really over-exemplify certain personality types and aspects that I find. Like, the Rainbow Dash is very much the hyperact... Well, she's very high energy, very... The cool character. She's very much that. Whereas I find Pinkie Pie very grating because it's like they try really, really hard to make her as random as possible.
Well, yeah.
And when you try to force random, it's not random. It's just irritating. We went over... we've never gone over this, but I'm sure a lot of us remember the Switch, from when people stopped saying random because describing yourself as random is fucking inaccurate.
There's unfortunately still a lot of people that do.
Yeah, it's sad. Mind you, they're not all just pigeonholed into this one character trait. They all do actually have human aspects to it and personality and stuff. Like, the character Rarity is not always just gushing over fashion and vanity, and is not always being a drama queen. She can actually be reasonable. But a lot of the time it's playing that up.
For a comedic effect most of the time, though.
Yes, but the first, this is the worst possible thing. After that, I hated it.
Well, they had to do it at least twice to show that she was overreacting.
Yes.
Third time was a bit much.
I don't have anything bad to say about the Applejack character. She's pretty down to earth, and I got no issues. Not especially likable, but I don't have anything bad to say about her.
All right, there's still two more.
Twilight Sparkle, who's actually kind of I want a better term than know-it-all, but not just from a knowledge standpoint, but from a moral standpoint. Something I noticed in the show is that something other people comment on as well that I kind of identified with, is she's very knows what's best, except for a couple episodes when she loses her shit. Yeah, she's that. Yeah. There's the one episode where they kind of illustrate how far OCD can affect a person, and so she kind of loses her mind because there's nothing to write about.
It's also the episode where Barry gets his deck's pretty much broken.
Yeah. She runs around trying to find a friendship problem that she can fix, she can write about, because she doesn't want to be tardy with her thing. It's a good example of people that are very... they're very focused on academia, and... it's kind of the overachiever thing, although in this case it was more of keeping up, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why when they humanize her, there's 9 times out of 10 she's drawn as an Asian student.
So, that, the nag thing, and the moral superiority, I kind of find really annoying. Fluttershy, okay, but a little bit annoying. That's really all I've got on there.
Alright, what about the episode Pinkie Pie Snaps?
That disturbed me on a primal level.
What about you, Mark? You saw that one.
I was just kind of... My mouth was just like wide open. I just like, what am I watching? What is Matt making me watch here? My brain's kind of melting away inch by inch.
What was going through my head was, this is a kid's show? This is intended for children. I'm 21 years old, and what is this?
So, disturbed.
Yeah.
Now, one time I'm just gonna watch with one of my nieces or nephews and see what happens. Just like, if they click with it or not, if they connect with it or not.
In fact, it's so disturbing, I challenge anybody out there, bronies especially, to take clips of when she's having her deranged tea party and set it to Down with the Sickness. Especially his rage close to the end.
Down with the sickness.
It's been done. Oh, it's been done. I'll show you.
Okay, well, we'll check that out later.
Well, either way, it's just, I don't know. Again, it wasn't my cup of tea. The whole series.
Alright, but can you guys understand why it's gotten this kind of fandom?
In some parts, yes.
I'm honestly not getting entirely what the hook is.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's I understand, like, the whole nostalgia pop of it, but other than that, it's just...
I can understand and acknowledge that there is a big fan base for guys of art that we make up a demographic of, but I can't pinpoint what it is.
Well, it's not just guys; it's girls too.
Yeah, but that's the big outspoken group is the bronies.
Yeah. Bro code. Any girl can still be a bro. Thus, any girl can still be considered a brony.
Okay.
Come on, you watch How I Met Your Mother. You should know the bro code.
Mm-hmm. I think I have a PDF of it, actually.
Yeah.
It's just...
So when you say brony, that includes females.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen so many fandom... I've seen fans of it. I've seen... Especially you. But I've seen also fans online about it. I mean, I can tell there is a click... a connection there, but other than that, it's just, to me, it's just small nostalgia pops. And
yeah, one thing, it does seem to be able to bring people together really well, because when Matt and I were at Anime North, we met a couple people, and Matt mentioned that he was interested in some of the My Little Pony stuff, and instantly it sparked this very good connection with this the other guys who also happened to be brony, and it was... I don't know, it was a very, very stable connection, and it was pretty interesting that it actually worked out that way.
I mean...
No comment.
What are you trying to emphasize here, Harv?
What word did he use?
Oh, don't worry yourself, you all heard me. Anyway, so... so, it is very good for... It's got positive messages, it's...
Again, it's also got the nostalgia pop. I keep repeating myself over and over, but it's
a very accepting community. Honestly, as long as you've got an open mind and just don't outright insult us, we won't have a problem. I mean, even if you insult us, most of the time people will just turn the other cheek because it's just not worth it. I mean, every argument that people have against the show, it's gone through a brony's head at some point. Yes, we know it's a show for girls. We know it's a kid's show. But we still watch it. Most of the time, we don't even know why.
I mean, that's not my problem with it. That's the only thing. That's not my problem with it. It's just it doesn't speak to me. It doesn't
speak to everyone, and that's the thing. Most bronies will give a generic answer oh, it reminds me of this or that from when I was younger. But they cannot give a definite answer of why we watch it.
So, based on your description there, it sounds more to me like a guilty pleasure sort of thing.
It is, yes. More or less a guilty pleasure, but...
It's a guilty pleasure that's well spoken out.
Yeah, it seems really highly celebrated for a guilty pleasure sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. It's essentially got the same kind of guilty pleasure level as you would have if you mentioned you played Pokemon if you were in the middle school ages. That was when Pokemon wasn't as popular because it was a few years between games. People had kind of forgotten about it. The show was really bad. If you mentioned Pokemon while you were grade 7, 8, even 9, not everyone would be as accepting as if you mention it right now. You play Pokemon? Cool.
Not everyone was, no, but I mean, for me, I can personally attest that I never lost face with saying I was a Pokemon person.
No, I'm not talking about losing face, but as a general thing, if you said it in a general sense, it would be a different reaction than what you would get today.
That's true. They have brought it back since then.
Yeah, the DS games have really helped, and just rolling out new stuff for it, the Pokemon Nobunaga's Ambition is coming out.
I found more in grades 9 and 10 that it was more taboo about Pokemon.
Yeah. 9 and 10.
Grade 7, 8, whatever. I was playing with my friends still in class.
Yeah, so 7 and 8, yeah. Just mid-2000s, let's just say that. It was when Pokemon died down a little. So it's kind of like that. It's a guilty pleasure, but it's one that if you go to a place where nerd communities gather, it's still a huge thing.
It was interesting. It was one of the biggest, isolated not isolated groups, one of the most concentrated groups of cosplay I saw of when seeing high volume of something from one franchise. There was a ton of My Little Pony stuff.
So it's basically replaced the Pokemon.
No, there's still a lot of Pokemon around, but it's another contender.
Yeah, it's up there. For something that is essentially just outside the norm, it's still fairly big.
Yeah.
now that I'm thinking of it a bit, like the characters and like how each character is like focused on like their personalities.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of how Hamtaro was, and how each character also had their own little personalities or little quirks and all that.
Hamtaro, I remember, became a guilty pleasure for me.
It was a guilty pleasure for me. I still have the
And there you have it, a connection, people.
Yes, but it's a very, very different kind of
like
experience because it's not a community sort of thing.
no.
At least not with me. There were a few people in my class that watched it. I would watch it because it was one of the only things on at 7:30 before I left for school, and it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, but if you look at in Japan, for instance, Hamtaro had the same kind of reaction as MLP did, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing
Like-
with like
People can say the My Little Pony thing is a surprise to them, but there are other shows from previous generations, well, not that far back, but
I mean
back in time
you
that
could-
have had older audiences get into them.
you could compare it to like things like Hello Kitty or Kuropi or even the Teletubbies. You can even like
Or let's go back to the 90s, even Sailor Moon.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guys watched it, just not very few would admit to it.
Yeah,
Oh, I admitted to that.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. I admitted to that.
Actually, because I was not quite so self-confident. I admitted one time in grade 1 to a couple of people in my class, the people at the table with that I watched Sailor Moon. Not long after it came out, and after a fair bit of ridicule, I stopped watching. I broke down to the social pressure.
Oh, no one really cared about what I thought.
Yeah. So these things happen. Like, people outside the intended demographic will watch these shows and be fans of it. It's not an unexpected thing. It's just this time it's a complete opposite of what it was expected to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, girls 4 to 8, let's say, was the intended. Now you've got guys 18 to 20 something even.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big change, and that's what really influenced a lot of these character changes. Like, stuff that these guys didn't see because they're not as big. Well, to put it as much as sorry, slip of the tongue. These guys aren't into as many different fantasy and sci-fi things as I'm into. Like, I just dabble all over the place. Like, you guys didn't even see the whole Star Trek connection there with Discord.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I am not as heavy of a sci-fi fan myself.
Yeah.
Just a bit for me. It's just some stuff.
Well, if you've seen Star Trek: The Next Generation, there's the character Q.
yeah.
Who played Q? John DeLange. Who played Discord? John DeLange. Discord, a guy who thrives in chaos and uses his powers by snapping his fingers. Q thrives in chaos, uses his powers by snapping his fingers. One-on-one connection there. Right for Star Trek there.
Okay.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's what they were intending to do. And the final part of that two-parter, the medal ceremony, was essentially scene-for-scene homage to Star Wars.
Yeah, I kind of got that.
It was a
But then-
reasonable reference, but I didn't find it to be that close.
You should see the scene. You should see the scene-for-scene matchup
But
videos.
so many people have ripped off that one scene. It's just it's like you don't really notice it anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
personally, I vastly preferred the medal ceremony they did in undergrads when they won the
Yeah,
Quake tournament.
I love
Yes.
that one.
Undergrads did the best, but undergrads intended the whole thing to be that.
Yes.
With
see Rob, you just
My
hear
Little
Rob
Pony, they did it more like a subtle way
Mm-hmm.
because they knew that no little girl's gonna freaking realize that.
Undergrads.
But at least if a brony's watching or if a father's watching it with his daughter, something may click in their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this looks familiar.
the scene from Undergrad. Now that you could. Rocco. So yeah, I mean, again, if it's it's what what clicks to you, what you make the connection to, then sure, go ahead. enjoy it. I mean, but though I'm not gonna be converted just
Not
today.
just yet.
Well, not just yet. I'm not gonna be converted. It's not my thing.
Well, we'll see what they do with season 3.
It was okay, but it really just didn't stick with me.
Like, I know what I've noticed is not everyone's big fans of one thing, and they tried to branch off to lots of little pops of nostalgia.
Yeah, they do. They do make references here and there. Like one episode I watched where they kind of nailed it into the ground that reading doesn't make you an egghead or a dork.
Well, that was actually more of a subtle thing, actually.
What, the Indiana Jones stuff?
No, the whole message of that thing had a double meaning to it. It was a whole thing about how one is a brony. At first, you don't want to admit it to anybody. You keep it to yourself. You go to a lot of lengths to hide it, but then it just eventually comes out. That was the hidden meaning of that episode. It was actually a tip to the hat to bronies.
Okay.
But at the
And
same time,
that's why they used the most popular character when they could have very easily used Fluttershy as the one that injured her wing, which was more unlikely to happen because the amount of times Rainbow Dash has crashed, you'd think she's indestructible anyways.
Again, if you enjoy it, go ahead and watch it. As for me and Harvey, it's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I enjoyed some parts. I laughed at I had a few giggles after some scenes, but other than that, it's not my thing.
Well, Harvey, another episode that I know you watched, the Cider episode.
Yeah.
Did you get the song reference?
I'm not sure actually. I remember the song. I don't remember exactly how it goes.
Okay, when the crowd is all chanting cider,
That
is a reference to The Simpsons. Monorail, monorail, monorail.
Kind of, yeah. I do kind of get that. Actually.
That whole scene was a reference to the old movie, The Dancing Man or Singing Man, whatever that movie's called. I forget off the top of my head.
Right now, you're you're proving my point with the whole nostalgia pop.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Second season, they threw in nostalgia from everywhere, and they didn't focus on anything because they wanted to have at least everybody be able to connect to some episode to say they enjoyed that episode, that part of it, because it reminded them of this. If they just focus on one thing, well, you're focusing on that, and that's cool, but there are other stuff that you can take a look at. There's a lot of things that people grow up with, and not just one type of thing.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's mostly a nostalgia pop with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's not the first show to do that.
It's not, but I don't know. To me, watching it, I mean, some parts are discreet than others, but it was just like nostalgia pop after nostalgia pop.
Well, to articulate for me, which may or may not also work with Mark, is I found that most of what I could enjoy was the reference parts in it. However, if that's it, that's not enough to draw me to the show.
It needs a bit more substance than that.
Yeah, more to latch onto, you know?
Yeah, well, like I said, there's stuff to latch onto. It's just that it's hard to describe what it is that bronies really latch onto because everybody has a different thing they'll say. Shall we go into the dark side of the fandom, or shall we spare them?
Why not? Do we have time?
Oh, we got time. We always have time.
Let's do it. Okay,
Sure.
So I guess Matt will start off with this part, I guess, because I started off.
Well,
Harvey can.
Like pretty much.
You know what,
anything-
Harvey? You can even do your little ad right now.
He's actually letting you?
Oh, this one's actually coming out of the barn. Wow. Well,
Stable.
No barn works in this case.
we'd like to let you know that the following message is brought to you by.
Wait. First, before anyone starts going on about like hater, this is only for joke purposes only. Please
Just enjoy the irony.
Yeah.
This message is brought to you by Cantrolot Adhesives, where friendship is the glue that keeps us together.
Oh,
And now we're going to hell.
Oh, we're gonna get a hate mail.
So, like pretty much anything else with a fan base, there are dark and seedy parts of it. You may remember when, especially Mark and I were talking about the dark side of MMO players.
No, just games in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rule 34. If it exists, there is porn of it.
Don't be shocked by now. I mean...
No, I mean, if you are shocked by this, then welcome to the internet. Let us be your guide.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to make Matt your guide. No, don't.
Have you seen some of the other pictures of the guides? I think I'm a breath of fresh air.
Don't. He'll lead you down a dark, lonely path.
The problem is, this is such a ripe example for Rule 34 to take advantage of. Because the more pure it is, the more satisfying it is to corrupt.
Exactly. That's Rule, I believe, 28.
Yeah, it is the very tandem rule that goes with that.
I mean, just I know I don't know whether it's a bad movie or not. Zack and Miri make a porno and you have that little tiny dog that he said, don't do that to the dog. Put the dog down.
But yes, like all fandoms out there is porn of it. It's there, it exists, and unfortunately, there's a slang for it among certain people. It's called clopping.
I mentioned this before. Oh, come on!
Honestly, I'll give points for creativeness, but I will say I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go into the furry stuff. Thank you very much. And the stuff where they get humanized, I've seen. Good for you. Can I have them with their clothes on?
Oh dear.
It's there, people.
Mm-hmm.
It exists. Do not deny it. But please, God, do not plaster it all over your room.
Let alone all over your Facebook or whatever social media site you have.
Mm-hmm. Because it seems to me that advertising this is probably another way to say forever alone.
Yeah.
Also,
honestly, the Rule 34 hurts us bronies more than it helps us. So, the less known about it to the public, the better.
That didn't stop Pokemon.
Yeah. But less people know about bronies and Pokemon. So even less people know about Rule 34 ponies than that. Let's keep it that way. Alright, any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap this up and move on to our last segment?
I think I've placed well enough.
Whether you enjoy it or hate it, like the guy we were at when we were at the card shop before, I mean, I'm not gonna bash people just for watching it, just because I don't like it. That's the whole reason of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna say, enjoy what you enjoy, other than just keep it to yourselves.
I will treat the My Little Pony fandom like pretty much any fandom. As long as you're not going overboard and ruining it for everybody else, I got no problem with you. But if
Don't worry, we're not that bad. We know where to draw the line. Trust me, we've seen Hetalia.
Yeah. You better know where to draw the line. It's the finish line.
You never know. There may be some extremists out there.
They get beaten.
Yeah.
Right?
So
we bucked them up the way Applejack bucks trees.
Saddled it up and on its way. Harv, get in your last 5 seconds of pun.
Shit. Excuse me, carrot in my throat.
Alright, and to everyone else, I wish you happy trails and good old-fashioned brohoof.